Hello, and welcome to the Beyond Screens Alternative Controller Show.
Hello.
My name, hello,
And welcome to the Beyond
God, I
Screens
can hear
Alternative
myself.
Controller Show.
I was not. I was like, is that you, Tatiana? Is that you sound? You sound
Lower
like
than
weirdly
usual.
different. Yeah, sort of deeper pitch to your voice. Anyway, here we are. We're live. As you can tell, this is all live right now. My name is Alistair, and with me is my trusty co-host, Tatiana. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm great. And hello, Zoraida in the chat. So in this show, we invite creators of out control video games to tell us about their work and, show us what they're working on, basically.
So, for those of you who might be new to the world of alternative controllers, these are video games made to be played using unusual custom-made controllers. So, for an example, a game might be controlled using a door stopper, or an electric guitar, or maybe even a paper shredder. Or the creator might construct a totally new object made by soldering together their own custom-made electronic components.
And today's guests are Hannes and Thomas Devillé. Hopefully I'm not pronouncing this too badly, that you may know under the name Devillé Arcade. These two brothers are from Antwerp, Belgium, and they work, they combine carpentry and video games by making arcade cabinets as pieces of furniture, crafted out of solid wood and customized for the games they will display. And maybe we can invite these guests right now, actually.
I think that sounds good, yes. So please welcome to the stream, Hannes and Thomas.
Hello.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Hi. Fine. A bit hot here.
Yeah.
Same
I mean,
here.
it's looking very sunny. It looks like you got a lot of that bright solstice sun right now.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us. It's a pleasure receiving you. We wanted to invite you for a while now.
Thanks for the invite.
Well, let's get into it right away. I mean, you know the drill because we briefed you also. The first part of this show is aiming towards, we want to know how you ended up making out control, arcade cabinet, etc. So let's start with the beginning. Before doing video games, before doing arcade, what did you do? From our research, we understood that, Thomas, you have a background in illustration, carpentry, and Hannes, more like in game development. Is that correct?
Yes, but we need to go back more.
Okay. Please let us know.
Yeah. We're brothers, and in our family, at some points, we started doing at Christmas. We started making board games, game jammy board games.
Right.
Okay.
It was always because with the family we want to do something extra for giving out the gifts. So we made this kind of Monopoly kind of games, but always a new variation. Once there was a game with Thomas made some wooden figurines, and you can knock off an arm and then get a new shield or something. It was all cool, but
that's like making games, or we still doing it like that, I think. So we start with paper prototyping and stuff, and it's from our kids that we doing the same process. I think we made it and we play tested it, and if it don't work, we fix it and we change the rules.
But we had to fix it on Christmas night.
Yeah, we had a deadline.
Right. Yes.
We just thought of we were young and we just thought of a game and a concept, and then we tested it and it's like, oh, we need like 6 hours more to finish this.
Yeah.
So let's quadruple the points.
Okay.
You can
How
get
old
all,
were you when you were doing this?
From
12.
12,
We were
yeah.
12 and I was like 9,
Okay,
I
okay.
guess.
I don't know.
But we made like more than 10 games like this.
More.
Yeah. And I just did it once more with my kid, who's now
Oh, really?
4. So there was a hiatus when we were like older, but now I did it for the first time again. But it's always combining like an overarching game with silly mini games, like making a kid's puzzle as fast as possible, like this super simple puzzle, and do like a battle. And so yeah, that's where we started making games together. It was 2 of us and the other brother as well. Mostly 2 of us. Three brothers at home.
Okay.
So he's actually now making playgrounds. So it's a bit that's more like swings and crazy towers.
Okay, that's a family business. Okay, got it.
And so
now your kids are doing this too with you?
They're too young to like be creators, but so not yet.
Okay. soon.
They're like 4 years.
And after that, you started, Thomas, you started making carpentry. Did you were you studying this or?
Yeah, I got a study in carpentry, and then I gone work a few years in making doors and stuff like that. And then I always want to be like a comic artist. So then I go to fine art school, and actually there we made our first game together, I think, for my finishing project or finishing final project for my art school. I made some paintings, and the last painting was like a video game, and Hannes was studying programming, and he made it. We made it together.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a Flash game, and the paintings were like sort of a story. Yeah. And the last painting was more a walking simulator kind of game, but that was not yet a term.
No.
That was so long ago.
You passed by. You walked in the city, and you passed by houses, and the houses gone clear, or you can see in them, and things happen inside the houses, something like that. So I remember that the guy told me. How come jury? Yes, sorry. That it was not fun, so it could be a game and stuff like that. So
okay, yeah.
But I passed the.
Okay.
So he was the only one who was complaining.
Yeah, no, the idea that a game needs to be fun. I mean, it's unfortunately a common mainstream idea about gaming. Yeah, especially maybe coming from people that are not from video game, I assume. Yeah.
Actually, sorry.
No, go on. I mean,
actually, after that, I was graduation, and the iPad was coming out, I think, and we thought, oh, that's a cool device. We get it the first batch, something like that, and we start making a game on it. We thought this was a good idea to make a game, and then we discovered that after a few months that we had not the skills to make a real game. So Hannes was then it's true. Yeah. And you start.
I did some game studies.
After that.
Because Hannes,
it was just holiday. We wanted to make a game, so afterwards
After all,
maybe
yeah.
learning to make iPad games was a bit short.
Because you worked, Hannes, on an iPad game back then. You were a more traditional game developer,
Yes.
and I saw that you were before freelancing. You actually worked on an iPad game that was released.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's another game.
yeah.
And so yeah, I did the game studies, digital arts and entertainment in Kortrijk. And after that, I worked for 2 years for an animation company. And we were like a small team of in-house game dev. Which started when I arrived and ended when I quit, when I wanted to do other stuff. But it was fun experience. We made this iPad game with a lot of mini games and variation in gameplay. So learned a lot there of finishing stuff.
I think the cooking game was quite fun, right? The cooking mini game.
Fun parts. And then
And after that, you co-founded the House of Indie.
Yeah. So here the story really starts. I think before the House of Indie. So I was working on an animation company. Thomas was not working in arts, and we were doing stuff for fun. Thomas started making an arcade stick. Grab one and you talk, or you grab one and I talk. So I think it's over here. Yeah, arcade stick, and then we were like, all right, now we can make a cabinet out of it. And then I found out about the Winitron Indie Arcades network. I'm not sure if anyone in the audience knows, but it's like it started in Winnipeg.
So just what we're seeing on screen, is this so these are handmade wooden fight sticks, are they?
Yeah, handmade wooden. This is the first one. With
right.
Arcade.
No, we had a silly name.
Running Girls.
Running Girls. So there's some girls
Silly
were running.
Right.
Sorry. Okay, and so the Winitron, which was in Winnipeg, Canada, the community there, they made this arcade cabinet, and they said like, let's bring out developers and test your games on this very cool looking arcade cabinets. And it was really about community building. In Canada, we were not there, but they like said anyone who makes an arcade, puts it in public, can have like the Winitron games, which included Nidhogg and a 2-player version of Super Crate Box and many more great stuff from indie stuff from that time. So we were planning to do an arcade, and it was like a super nice reason to push forward. We finished it, joined the global game just for fun. So no company, no stuff. We were working on other stuff. And we brought it to Global Game Jam. In Antwerp, there was a local Global Game Jam, and there were 2 other guys who brought their own DIY cabinets, which was crazy in Belgium. And then some curator over there said like, hey, she was just starting out over there. It was really like a roller coaster of things coming together. She said like, I want to do an expo, let's do something about games. And we were like, all right, let's do this with the other 2 guys we just met.
Bram and
Bram, and Jon, Jon is still, he made Nuts, the last game, and lots of other cool stuff and initiatives. He's now living in Iceland, but he's from Belgium.
So maybe just for the audience, because that's a lot of info. So Winitron is an open source platform for indie arcade machines and games. The idea is that you can develop your games and then run it on special arcade cabinets. The initiative is coming from Winnipeg, but it opened worldwide, and it was actually a good way to start making real arcade games for many people. I mean, on arcade cabinets. Jon is Jonathan van Hoeve. He's a developer. He's been quite active in the ALT control community. Nowadays, he's making more digital games, and he has this big games called Nuts, which, to put it simply, is about taking pictures in natures, among other things. The game got some prize actually. And I mentioned the House of Indie. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to growing and supporting independent video game creation. And it was the association behind Screen Shake, which is a huge ALT control festival. It's not running anymore, but for a while it was one of the reference in Europe for ALT control, alongside a Maze festival, of course, and game festivals like this. But yeah, Screen Shake was a huge event in the ALT control community, and the House of Indie was behind this. Sorry, it was just for the audience to connect with what we are saying.
Nice.
So what?
Yes.
I mean, what
yeah.
was it you were doing behind the scenes at these events?
Yeah, there were 4 people, so everything. Yeah, we were mostly focused on the game expo part. So yeah, I was like mailing developers, can we show your game? Not yet. And Thomas, yeah, we were also like working on scenography. Our other brother helped out in the end, also to finish things up. Or he even, yeah, they also thought of some scenography stuff as well. And yeah, we made stuff work on the expo parts, and then yeah, there were a lot of other parts like talks, like workshops, like Tatiana did one, and like great shows, like new concepts, new art form, like Alistair did one of his shows at the Screen Shake Festival.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was great to like yeah, grow our network as well, of course, and contacts, and yeah, it was also just fun to do it. And there was this longer running part of the Belgium indie game community, which never really took off until then. So that was a start, but there were, yeah, other people also starting the Belgium indie scene, and now it's growing. So it's fun yeah, we did like monthly meetups, and people could make games for the Winitron as well. We did jams or just for fun, and but they also show their own projects in these meetups, which was great fun. There's still one running, which we don't run, but if you're ever coming to Brussels, you can check out Brotaru.
Right.
It's a nice meetup, like, yeah, we have in other countries as well, this kind of meetups. But yes.
Was one of your game made during Screen Shake or the House of Indie context?
This one.
Oh.
Yeah, train passing by. So our office is beneath railroad. So there was a train passing by. So yes, actually a lot of concepts or prototypes started in these days. Like we did an event and we want to try to show something new, and we just bashed it together. So this is the latest version of. We can show.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a drawing installation. There's pencils.
Interesting. Is this Taken? Was it
Taken?
Taken, yeah.
First version of this was made in the early House of Indie days, and then
Mm.
never showed it again, and now we're like rebooting it.
Yeah.
Still in development actually, but we
So
showed it at some places.
Taken, you pitched it on your website as a drawing game, like you have to draw on paper, and there is a camera recording this, and it's interpreted in a 3D world. Maybe you can explain the game better than I will.
Yeah, the basic is that you have these blank objects in the game, and you can then enter in these drawing modes, but you use real pencils and real paper, and then your texture gets streamed on the object. But then we like to do like some filters and effects and mirroring that makes the drawing experience a lot more interesting. And there's some late game concepts of yeah, when you draw something, there's grass growing and stuff like that in the color that you draw. So there's some gameplay implications as well, but it's mostly creative. But it's really also like a game. It's not just 3D objects drawing. You get control over some characters and stuff.
Yeah, they go live. You can.
So you have this
Yeah.
this diorama, which is white first, and then it's all your own paintings with things crawling around.
I see.
Mm.
So you've got you've got a camera picking up images on the piece of paper, and it's picking up all the colors and things. And then how is the player moving the characters around?
Now it's with a joystick,
Right.
but we're actually developing a new system where we remove the joystick. You have this ball, a bit like PlayStation Move.
All right.
But because we have the top-down camera, yeah, we have everything set up for ball tracking, so you can have like 3D tracked pointer.
Right.
So it's more out-control-y in that case. So yeah, it's fun because it's like a little diorama, so you can poke around in it with your. So that's gonna be pretty fun, but it's still in development. This feature.
Version
3.
3? Okay, first.
No,
Yeah.
And where would you be exhibiting something like this? Was this in museums? Was it in libraries? Like, where does it find an audience?
I'm gonna answer.
We mostly work for the cultural sector. So cultural houses or libraries, and we like festivals. We do a lot of festivals, like tech festivals, of kids festivals, or stuff like that. And now we're working on something bigger for the big museums, I think. More more for the museum audience. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, we work mostly for the cultural sector, I think.
Yeah, mostly for ourselves in that case. That we don't really. We do work for hire, but we don't.
Right.
Because they like, can you make something? And then we can choose because they're not really like super versed into. Yeah, we have some questions for a brand or something, but yeah, usually we don't do it, or it gets cancelled or something. Either way, but we could do that. But most of our focus is on original work, and yeah, we have the benefit that the cultural sector is starting to look at video games, and the people working there are starting to be people growing up with video games, and they're like, why aren't there any video games in our cultural place? Why can we put video games in the library? And when they go looking for that, they can like, oh yeah, we can put a PlayStation and FIFA, or we can get something more cultural layered or interesting, and then hopefully they think the second thing.
Yeah.
And then
I have the same observation. We talked quickly about it, but nowadays I'd say ALT control made professionally has more, let's say, success in the art or cultural world than in the video game world, actually. Opportunities are mainly coming from cultural fields, I'd say. I mean, at least the paid gigs, let's be honest, 90% of them are coming from art for me and cultural-ish. In general, it's very rare that a video game event is really interested in this. Maybe because from what I've seen, when I'm asked for something coming from the video game industry, I'd say they have expectations that are extremely clear, like retro arcade or retro thingy, but not artistic, original, weird stuff. And I mean, I didn't come into ALT control to remake old arcade. At least it's not my thing. And
yeah,
I assume you have the same. Yeah.
It's funny for us too, because we make some of our arcades are looking, the parts we use are very traditional, and sometimes it's like a 2-player arcade for Nidhogg or something. But people are associating it with retro, and we actually don't have very retro inspiration ourselves. We like some retro games, but we actually never made a retro arcade, which is a bit strange, but we're just purely focused on like the contemporary, the things that are made now by ourselves or other artists or game developers.
And you have a strong visual identity. I think it's funny because you showed us these fighting sticks, these fighting pads, and we can already feel your typical visual identity, meaning that even when you have, I'm thinking about Arcade Hall, for example, which is a bunch of arcade cabinets you made for different games. And it's meant as arcade cabinets, but it looks so much more contemporary and still visually, like, strongly with your visual identity so much that I think it's the perfect illustration of why I love your work so much, that it's still arcade, it has the appeal of arcade, but it's still very artistic, and we have your visual identity, but the games inside of them, they are not like Pac-Man or whatever. It's still contemporary games. So it's really a modern take on arcade. Actually, I could not mention many people doing this. Actually, not anyone else. I mean, it's really you. But yeah, I love your work, so I'm sold already. Maybe you can tell us about Arcade Hall. I mean,
Arcade Hall, yes, yeah, because you asked where we show our games, and actually now we have like 9 arcades which are touring around Flanders and Brussels. So yeah, that's the thing with ALT control. We're not shipping a lot of arcades to the US and stuff like that. Not yet. So it's mostly local, like Europe, Belgium, Netherlands, France. And these are touring around in libraries. So mostly libraries. So we have this cooperation with an organization who's working for content for libraries. And it's like 3 years now, I think, or with COVID, probably 5 years. I don't know. And with a 2-year gap, and they're focused on creative, social, or artistic games. So some of them it's just 4 buttons, and it's our game, like Diaspora. It's one of our games with 4 buttons, where you just control a character with 1 button. So it's fun for us because it's social and like easy to get into. And you can like work together in the game. And So yeah, it's 9 arcades, so it's a lot to sum up the arcade hall. But
yeah, but Diaspora is one of your game actually. So some of them, some of these cabinets are for other people's other developers' game, but Diaspora, it's one of yours, and it's actually a bit engaged. I mean, it's about refugees, etc. So it's not just a party game. There is kind of a message behind it.
There's 2 layers. If you can just play it for fun, and then you could catch the second layer, but it's very light-hearted way to. But it's about refugees. We work with a theater group who do theaters directed by refugees in Belgium here. So it was a little bit of a collaboration, and they bring the arcades when they did the 1 year tour of their theater. And then, we work with the local libraries here, which are also attracting a diverse crowd. But it's a light-hearted version of the journey of a refugee, and at some parts we want to make you feel some stuff through the gameplay, like a scarcity. You feel it, and it's like you want to try to take airplane, which it takes forever to collect enough resources to get the airplane. So you pick like a rubber boat across the ocean, and it's very difficult and very dangerous. So it's a bit fun and not fun.
In the gameplay, you discover the difficulties.
The layers.
And at the end, you get the paper stuff that not is very clear, but you have to do
like
the
a check-in process, getting your papers. It's also like sort of a puzzle game, sort of like what I'm supposed to do, and it's also to evoke a feeling of like, what should I do here when you arrive in a new country?
Language.
But it was nice to work with the people from the theater.
Yeah, I mean, working with a theater, like, that's quite an unusual kind of, a way for a project to come about. I mean, how did that come about? Did they approach you? Did you approach them, or were you kind of put together? Like, what's the story behind that?
It was their first job we were a company.
Right.
So after House of Indie, there was overlapping time, and the House of Indie stopped after a while. But there was a time when we also started being Devillé Arcade. Before that, it was just for fun. And then they approached us. I'm not sure. It was via.
I think she also came. We had our residence in the Bos. It's a cultural center where the festival is Screen Shake is held. So maybe she saw stuff. And we did already things with newcomers and schools. So I think
we did. We did some. They also organized some workshops for people new in the country, and we did like one workshop on Pico 8 game development with alt control. So as a mix, some could do like the game dev, and some cardboard boxes with alt control stuff, which was fun. We also did a bigger workshop on a refugee camp, actually.
Making an arcade and making a game in a refugee camp. We did 2 times, I think.
We did workshops for some years, but now we're stopped doing it for a while because it was we had to choose what to focus on.
It's time consuming. It's really time consuming.
It's fun, but it's also time consuming.
A lot of preparation, and we were doing too much, like making an entire cabinet in the workshop.
And there is a lot of demand for that, actually. From what I observe, I'm asked more and more for alt control workshops, to the point I cannot accept them anymore. So my partner, he's actually taking some of them, but for some I have to refuse. If some people want to do this and can hear us right now, let us know. I mean, I'd be happy to give them workshops. I'll construct workshops.
Think
But
it can come back for us as well. We just put the pause on it for a while. When our kids are bigger.
But there are
For this
some
age, yes.
but there are some interesting results. Alistair is displaying a video that's on your Instagram. This superhero controller
Yes,
that was made in a workshop for children.
That was one day.
But we have sorry.
What's the game about? Sorry.
It was actually like a mod for Doom buttons, a game we already made. So yeah, we thought it was not a lot of hours. So we focused one team on the electronics and the hardware, and the other team on like thinking about the game a bit more, like tweaking it and making some drawings themselves to swap out the art we already had. It was the most thing to fit in the time. But it fitted because we did superhero thing.
Team. So they did the whole the game development, just paper prototyping, coming with an idea, test it, and then they start tweaking the game we already had at the background, and then making art for it. And I was with the kids building some stuff that they had one button and they have to stand on one leg and
twister
and acting. It was like it was fun. It was just one half day.
It's interesting because Doom buttons actually had two different controllers, or maybe not at that point, but I saw some videos of the original controller, what I believe is the original controller for Doom buttons, the one with the actual buttons. And then I think maybe during the pandemic, you made these foot controllers.
Yeah, really. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we make we had a job, a festival, but it was COVID, so we had to do everything foot controller wise. So yeah, we made a lot of food and even hand tracking and leap motion stuff.
We want to do like a touch-free version of some of our installations. So that was like the Doom buttons with, instead of a small arcade, it was an arcade with a projector inside, and then 1.5 meters between each button.
The audience just saw the original controller, and now the video that's displayed is the one with the foot controller made for the pandemic.
Yeah, this was the RGB light.
I noticed, I mean, let's I'll bring you up onto the big screen so you can see nice and large, but that is, I mean, it's a lovely lovely piece of equipment there. I mean, I noticed on the photos there's like an what is it, like a VGA cable or something sending the data between them. I mean, how much stuff is being controlled there?
So the previous version had a VGA, but kids step on it. It was the first showing, and now we have this nice nut-rig, like they use for audio equipment and stuff. Music. So it's a lot better. So it's a professional connection now.
And
what are the data that you are passing through this, because it's huge.
It's RGB LEDs, so it's some strips. For the Doom buttons, it was not too complicated because it's just lighting up when you step on it. For the trippy tiles, there's more LEDs and more stuff being done with data passing by. But there was some data passed with the VGAs.
Maybe we should explain how the games are played quickly. Like Doom buttons, it's a co-op arcade game with four foot pedals. Maybe you can explain quickly how this works.
Yes. So you have 4 buttons or 4 foot buttons. Each one has a color. You just fly in space, and it's just like an infinite dodging game. So you fly up and down. You just switch direction when pressing the key. But the nice thing is that if you hit the wall and you're 4 players, the other players can rescue you. So you can go together for the high score. So it's one of our most straightforward arcade games. Just getting the high score together with 4 players or less, and helping each other out. So that was the fun twist in the mechanic, is that if you're dead, you're not walking away, you can get revived. And you can also join when there's only 2 players. You can just hot join, and in a run, you can join in.
Your grades, you can choose if the levels can more difficult or the speed going up. And that's something you have to manage
more speed or more difficult.
So and the controller is kind of the same. This foot controller you used for another game of yours that's called Trippy Tiles.
Yes.
Okay. And how is Trippy Tiles played then?
Oh yeah. So this one is a single player. I don't know if you have an image up or something.
Yeah, we've got showing some.
It's going through right now. Yeah.
All right, cool. So you stand in the middle of the middle hexagon, and then the other hexagon standing up is like your screen, but it's not a screen. And you're firing off beams of color, and you need to combine the blue and yellow to green.
I see.
Avoid the red. And there's getting more and more complex patterns, and it's not a rhythm game, but sometimes you need your timing. There's some synth sounds dung, 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 to get you in the timing. So you need timing, but it's more puzzle game. It's supposed to be a trip, but also it's still in development as well. The final game, I really want to make the audio better, to make it more really a trip of of sequence of levels. Always want to fine tune a bit more.
No, it's harder. Yeah, there is no screen, so you got to make it juicy to compensate the fact that there is no digital visuals, etc. I get that. Yeah,
it's actually one of our first, or the first no screen games.
And when you made it, like, because did the when you made the hexagons, like the hexagon foot pedals, were they like something you made for the Doom buttons and then said, oh, we can use these for other things? Or did you make them with the intent that, oh, these could be pieced together in different ways for different games? Like,
you're always thinking about, once you start designing it, you're thinking about new concepts. Actually, the Trippy Tiles games wasn't really on the planning. And I was like, we were thinking about the festival for the COVID stuff. And we should have foot buttons. But the dance mats are so flimsy. We need to make our own wooden foot buttons. We want to make it all the time. For years, we want to make it. But now there was the big reason to do it. And then I said, like, we're making these foot buttons. I have this little concept of a game. Let's make it in some weeks. And then months and months later, it's like, it was actually a bit more work than we thought.
And actually we had like a rail structure that's going to be in a festival with alt control games in it from Robin and
Walvis,
and
whale in
whale, it's a whale, and it's a whale, skeleton, like kind of sculpture. And we had Robin, his wobble garden.
We can see.
Partially.
So with the door springs, a lot of them. So you touch it with your hands, and we cannot use that in COVID times. So actually, the shape is it's really,
because of Robin, I guess.
yeah, because
it was a hexagon. Yeah,
it was a hexagon, and we want to swap it for COVID-proof installation.
Yes, I see.
Okay, yeah, that's
Hexagon.
interesting because that's another installation you made without a screen actually, but it was with games from other people that were not based on screen. I have to admit, like this whale structure, this whale sculpture, I think from an artistic point of view, it's amazing because this, and I'll talk later about what you did with Sock Pop, but there is, you talked about your other brother working with Playground, and one of the most interesting thing for me about your work is how it seems inspired by Playground. It's like a Playground take on digital games or electronic games. Like you play with space in a way that is kind of like playground-ish, playground-like. So you don't think about, for some of your installation at least, you don't think about one game with a screen and a controller. It's a playground, and you can walk through it and discover a game here and another one there. And there is this walking through the installation that's fascinating for me. And I was wondering how you thought about all this, because while this installation, from what I understood, it integrates two games from Robin Baumgarten, Line Wobbler on the let's say the spine of the whale, and Wobble Garden on the hexagon. And then there is Rotoring and Skipper from Gregory Kogos. How did you think about space? How did you think about all this?
Yeah, so it's nice to hear that, because the goal of the whale was to go to bigger locations and to play with space, and to play with how you have games and you can play them, but there's also you walk in the room and you get this kind of feeling what's going on, and you'll get triggered and interested in discovering the stuff. And that's a big part of this. It's more like a series of installations which started with the whale and also the Sock Pop installation, which is more focused on, before we had these small arcades, you can put it anywhere you want, and this is more like taking in a space in like a museum or something. And then it started growing organically. I guess we have this little sketch of the whale skeleton at some points. We have Robin contacted, and he is talking about Gregory. We also saw his work before, but him talking about it put the puzzle together, and we were like, oh yeah, this just growing organically. It's like another puzzle to fix, but it's fun to have something that's more than the sum of the parts. It's a bigger thing, and also with the Sock Pop, it's discovering the games and where they are and how to play them and how to get started is also a part of, instead of a frustration, it's a play thing to instead of like, how does this work? It's more like, oh, let's see what happens when I climb up here and touch this. And so the playground, especially for Sock Pop, was a big inspiration because their playfulness in the games as well. It was really the goal to.
We want to communicate also by Sock Pop, I think, the way how they make their games. Like they're not a big team that works years on, but they have the Patreon and they bring them games monthly, 2 a month, I think. first and now
two per month. Yeah.
Yeah, and the community is very in there. So we want to have the player also in the installation, on the installation. So it was like it represents the way of the making games. Also in the visual in the installation. I think.
Yeah, and another focus that's coming up more is for us in the design is the player as part of the installation, as part of the spectacle. Not always spectacle, but as part of the experience of seeing people interact. It's also becoming more part of the installations for us, especially for the sub and the thing we're doing now for Nina Freeman. Not for Nina Freeman, but for our installations with our games. It's also a part of it that you have these personal games and you're playing them, and when you see somebody sitting, so are these cabinets, and we put them a bit higher up. Some are more high up, and you become part of the furniture as a player, and people are looking. So you're not with your back, but you're watching people from the side playing, and you're a bit. People are not playing, are seeing you. And you are, as a player, seeing the life of Nina, because it's very personal for games. It's a bit of the thinking behind it.
No, but that's interesting, because these are really the two parts I can see in the evolution of your work. There is first the strong visual identity coming from the way you work with wood and the polished work you do with wood and arcade elements. So you have the bright, playful colors coming from traditional arcade elements, buttons, joysticks, etc., and the woodwork around this. And for the last years, there is this deeper, more profound reflection, design reflection, I feel, about space, stage design, how it's not about the game only and the cabinet and the furniture, but also the whole space and how each game interacts with each other. And there is another level that's reached here that's rarely seen in our environment, or maybe from curators. Maybe sometimes we have some reflections like this, but from all controlled creators, it's really rare. I have to admit, I don't do this. Like, I'm not at this level yet. I wish I was. I'm working towards this, but that's really impressive.
Yes, sure. Thanks.
Maybe.
Yeah, go on, Alistair.
Well, no, I mean, I'm quite curious to find out, what makes a good playful space. I mean, you've got the whale skeleton with those, those lovely rib cages, and I can imagine it'd be fun to weave in and out of them. But I mean, the sock pocket installation, it's like a whole climbing frame. How do you what makes a space like that fun to play with?
Choosing the good games. And then
it's always back and forth. So the process is actually pretty long, because we check all the games, and we talk about this. Maybe not all of them, but most. And then there's some ideas, and then there's this physical constraints, and then there's more ideas, but then there's this small element, this part of the game that we take, and in the Wamu of Sub Pop, you have this fruit. You can get into the fruit in the game.
Right.
It's like a nice circle. It's really nice design to the game of Sub Pop. And so we take this element of the game, and then we there's a screen over here.
Yeah.
There's arcade controls inside.
Right.
Game like that.
So you have to lie on your back to move the joysticks and press the buttons. I guess that's like you can't just kind of relax into operating the game. You have to be kind of physically
It's pretty relaxed.
aware of your body kind of thing.
Once you're in there, it's pretty relaxed. But
Yeah.
it's the different marks, like it's an element from the game. It's like something to discover. And it's and it's a good game.
So like the two-player the game where you work together, Ollie and Bolly, so from Subpop also, they climb on each other to fix stuff, or
it's like co-op and you get on each other's shoulders.
So that idea we take, and that's really fun, that you climb on each other, and then we build in structure that you sitting above each other. So
it's not so intelligent. So it's you can so I'm a top player.
Right. Can just
then-
about see you.
Controls here. It's moving.
Oh my god. Your like your
great
workshop is like a playground.
Yeah.
That's
Well, something that is striking about
yeah.
something that is striking about these spaces you make is that it's also a way to dig deeper into what the digital games are already offering. Like for a sock pop, they have this way of working that is a bit chaotic, but in a good sense. I mean, it's 2 games per month, different people. And this idea of things being all over the place is really embedded in this installation. Like you have a player that is laying on the ground, another one that is sitting on top of another, and each element also is relevant regarding the game itself, like the fruit with the game that's on the ground, etc. For I'm thinking also about what you did for Bart Bonte when he had this color games, and for each games you had this really minimalist visual design, but shaped in a way that is modular, but I'll come back to modularity later. But also that is, I don't know, bringing something new to the theme the game had in the first place. I assume that's a way you think about your installations, thinking about what the theme of the game is and what you can bring to it with the tangibility you bring to the experience, right?
Yeah, we want to enhance
the experience. Yeah, that's the word. No, but it's always like a puzzle, and thinking what's the most striking elements of the games, or what details we can bring up, and then you find the match at some point, and sometimes you find a match but it's not good enough, and then you discover something during building but yes, for Bart Bonte it was a good fit, because his games are so geometric, and the point of the game is to make the screen completely in this color. For the green game, it's all green, and it was making just 6 of these games at the time, and we had this hexagon again. So you see, returning hexagon is overused in design and in games, but still it's not so obvious, because it's can be set up separate as well.
We make other shapes, actually.
Yeah.
No,
Make
but you
it
have an
this,
obsession
or
for
you can make it
hexagons.
straight, yeah.
I mean,
That's
it feels
fine
like,
to have obsession.
yeah, I mean, well, obsession or a trademark, you know, it feels like it definitely does identify you, you know.
The latest installations have lots of hexagons, but
Yeah.
that's
Thanks for
the reason for us to
Yeah.
shake it up.
No, but that's if I get serious here, hexagons are shapes that have interesting properties because you can assemble them, but it's not like squares, because squares you can do the same, but visually it's really rigid. Hexagons have a bit more flexibility and yet is still easy to combine. So there are reasons why some strategy board games choose the hexagon shape rather than squares.
Yeah, even the whale has hexagons as a
Yeah.
parts.
But it also it's one exhibition we make, so it's normal you get one like
it's like
some design.
All the latest cooperation stuff is like the same series, let's say. So it's like it's actually Nina Freeman and like Cubism, which is not built yet, which are both in work in progress, are the last two pieces of this series. And Cubism doesn't have hexagons yet.
It's not too late.
It's Cubism, it's not hexagonism.
But we can fix it probably.
Cubism is the only VR game in the exhibition. It's by Thomas van Bouwel. It's super minimalistic as well.
And a puzzler, Belgian devs make puzzle games, I think.
Belgian indies make puzzle games.
But it's normal that we get not too much different styles because it has to be one.
And the shapes are also dictated by the woodwork. So Thomas always wants to make spheres, and I always say like, "Oh, are you gonna make it?" And then he's scared by my production voice. Someday when we have a sphere arcade or spheric installation, Thomas has one. We have found a good way. Actually, we made some more hexagonal spherical thing prototype once.
No, but that's why I was talking about hexagons. Like, really, it has a lot of good properties. Like when you want to doing a circle by hand with a saw is a pain in the ass, to be honest. And I mean, you have laser cutters, but then I mean, you need a big machine for that, or a CNC or whatever. So no, really, if you want to do a sphere, for example, or any platonic volumes, you need this kind of shape, so it makes sense. I mean, and every good duo has one person that's reckless and another one to be serious. I mean, I'm working with someone called Olivier. He's serious and I'm reckless, so I bring possible ideas. Then he asks me, how are you gonna do this? And I'm trying to, and if it doesn't work, he's the one saying, okay, let's be serious here. So
something that works.
But no
recipe
one's
for success.
Alistair.
No one's got my.
Reckless.
I have, it's that, or I have to do like it's like the two theatre master comedy tragedy thing. I have to change hats. I was like, okay, now it's silly time, now it's serious time.
You have autonomy.
Yes,
right?
yes.
He has a second personality to do this. So.
No. Recently, I've been doing interactive live streams, making like interactive art and stuff like that, and I have a second personality I use to host those.
I heard about him.
And I assume one last question I had is how you make your work evolve. Like there is a game you made that we didn't talk about, and we have different versions of it in pictures. It's Coopatron, which is an installation you made for a game by Guillaume Boucart, and we can see the evolution of this. So I was wondering how you start, like, you have this game, it exists, and how you come from having this game existing to the final installation. How do you basically, how do you think? I guess this is my question.
Yeah, for this game specifically, or in general, because for this game specifically, it was really a collaboration with Guillaume, but he approached us with only an idea.
Okay.
And he was like, yeah, I'm never gonna make this, and on my own. I just want to make it. And there was like also practical opportunity to get funding. It's always a part of not always, when we started out, and it was not our job. It was less important.
Yeah, but nowadays.
Yes. So there was this opportunity, and yeah, we discussed about the game. But he did entire game development on it. But we talked a lot. He did the game, but we tested prototypes and stuff. So yeah, it was because it was this 4-screen setup. It started with like, does it even work? And then we got it working on my dinner table. But it was not even with Guillaume, so he sent me the build. I invite some people on my dinner table, which we don't have a picture from, and then we were sure that there was some basic concept working, and also so the game is so the arcade.
Of course, you have it around. They have everything at reach.
It's not borrowed. So the game is 4 screens, 4 players, 4 colors. It's important. Your button has a color, and your player runs from one screen to the next, so it disappears for you. You stand still. So I am red. My red square runs away. There is a hole in his path, so the other player has to yell, "Red, jump!" And then I have to press. I have to trust this player. It's a co-op game.
Yeah, when someone dies, the game is over. So you have to survive together, and it works pretty well. But it's really, you have to do 2 things at the same time. So you have to jump and tell other people to jump, and
super easy, the game. Like because they had some more ideas, but when we play tested, so that's what's very important to play test. We can scrap all the features and just have jumping, because it was super difficult to communicate with people. So that was enough learning to communicate. And when you have to say something to someone else, and at the same time listen to someone else, that
it's
was
already chaotic.
Game over usually happens, except if like come on, get like a real all right.
The iteration is very fast, so you learning fast also. So some people, it's a high score game, so it's a real drive to work together, yell at each other, and that's the part. The most fun is someone makes a mistake, you can yell at them or something like that. It's the interaction between the players. So we made it high enough that you can't see the other screen, but you can see each other's face.
Right.
You're a grown up.
Yeah, if you're grown up, sure. But because that's part of the.
It's really social game. Yeah, it's a bit space theme inspired, of course. but it's a space theme platformer. Let's
It
say.
does.
Yeah,
I
I
mean-
was thinking about Space Sim, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, having the installation and it's different experience.
Yeah.
Oh no, completely. I mean, and I understand. I mean, if you had any other interactions than jumping, it's already too much, because the point is not about the complexity of the game itself. It's all about chaotic communication to instigate these social moments, else of huge success, because you manage to interact super well, and there is something like, oh, I don't know how to call that, but ecstatic about making this work despite the overwhelming of your overstimulating environment, or of course instigating dispute and discord in the groups, which is part of the fun in this kind of game. Yeah, it's simple and brilliant, but it looks like your work, like simple and really clever as usual.
Yeah, it was a fun collaboration. Was unique for us to do this from the ground up collaboration. So all our projects are a bit different.
Yeah, and you have, I'd say there are two parts in it. Like there is this very artistic and experience-oriented reflections in design, like you just said, making the installation just tall enough so people cannot see other people's screens and yet still see their faces, so the human communication stay intact. But you also have more, I'd say, technical reflections. Like I was thinking about how you've thought about having this modular design for some of your arcade. You had this quick video, short video on Facebook about this concept you have, the way you make modular design, which is a more object design oriented kind of reflections. So you have these two aspects, like experience on one side and design, like pure design, let's say, more pure object design on the other hand. I don't know, by the way, how you came up with this idea for modular design.
Yeah, there's always this idea, right, from people to make things modular, and for us it's very practical. We have these cabinets. We want to show this game on it. But then on another festival, we don't want to like saw it in two parts, and we don't want to break it down to show another game, which we did do with our first cabinets. Like we had this Screen Shake Festival, and then we had another edition, and we want to show Donut County on it from Esposito.
Make a bigger hole in it.
And so we make a hole in it for your hand. With the joystick, but the modular thing was a logical thing to do to show different control schemes on the same cabinet, and not having to like make another cabinet or destroy a cabinet. So that's a practical part, and like when there's a location buying an arcade, they can get a new control scheme or stuff like that as well. But the modularity, it's a fun thing.
Yeah, it's a thing we love to do. I think we always think about how we can make it modular, or even with practical. With a sock pop installation, we were not sure about some games if they can work, or we always have to test things with you can test it in your space here, but when you test it in the public place, it's different.
Hordes of kids,
punching buttons, stuff like that. So it's actually also modular, so I can change one part of it, and
like a big pie.
Yeah,
and you can like switch the piece of the pie. And then there's the transportation logistics. So it's one of the biggest installations. So it's also like hexagonal, and we can fit everything together, and we can like rent a smaller car. not a small car, but or we can fit more installations together for a festival.
We always
Because we
think
have,
about
bulky
how
setups,
big
yeah.
is like
The door.
the door and how big is the
Yeah. With the whale,
with the railing.
we had we
It's modular, but not that.
sometimes there
Yeah.
were big parts and
Yeah.
we didn't want to break it apart, but we took the stairs, big
Yeah.
stairs.
Right.
We had
So, I mean, these days, now that you've kind of found yourself doing things more and more modular, like, do you start a project and right at the beginning you're thinking, how do we make this modular, or is it you build something and then you go, okay, how can we make that modular?
Yeah,
we don't start thinking about modular,
No.
but we think about it before building it. We can build like a non-modular prototype, or once we build the final thing, we will have decided if it's modular or not.
Checklist before we make the.
But it depends if it's not. It's a bit of a strange combination because we do adjust the game, the installations a lot to the games often. Like the whole, it's not this experience with another game, like the Wamu whole thing. So it's conflicting sometimes in that way.
Yeah.
So it's not a top priority actually, the modularity, but
No, it's a fetish of mine.
Right.
Hexagons and modularity. Okay.
No, but it helps when you need
Everyone
to fit
has kinks. I mean,
Yeah.
no, really, like it sounds like a joke, but doing this show for you, it's the second season now. Usually artists have go-to things, despite themselves. Usually, like I have an obsession with controlling skies, weather, this godlike experience. If you ask me why, I don't know. I mean, ask my therapist, but I have this, like it's me. So no, it's fine to have obsessions, really. We are reaching the end of the interview part. Maybe one final question, which is basically, what are you up to right now? You told us about this Nina Freeman collab you are having. What kind of?
So yeah, it's also like a 4 game installation. Maybe you have the pictures, maybe you don't.
we don't, sorry.
We don't, but
maybe
we
more
can.
links or something. Which is it's like I said, it's part of a series, and it's called Player Inputs, but it's not really event yet. But the entirety will be shown in a Playtime Festival in Bruges in September. So that's our upcoming big event, because a lot of our stuff will be there. We have
I'm looking at the website now, and it's like your whole portfolio on show. It's great.
I think so, yeah.
So which is nice. And then we're talking with museums for showing existing stuff and making new work, but it's still talk. It's we will keep you posted on our channels.
Please do.
As they say, and then we're still working on a lot of our installations, making newer versions, which improved versions of our installations, especially in in Spelfabric also.
Today I worked on a new version of Spelfabric, and Hannes is making the game. It's the game with the blocks. looks.
Maybe we can do that in
Yeah.
the show and tell.
Yeah, we do it a lot, and now we make a whole new version of the game and also a new panel. So that's where we work on, and in a few weeks it go to Groningen in the Netherlands.
A cultural place,
Yeah.
forum, nice
place,
library, crazy building.
Yeah.
Wow. That sounds
and-
really exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Nina Freeman installation is the one with the 4 booth.
Yes.
Okay, I saw this actually, but I didn't take the time to read everything, so I didn't know it was this. But
Yes.
there is a
because
link for the audience in the chat if you want to see that.
Yes. The design changed.
All right.
Okay. So it's this, but not anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Similar. It's similar.
But we had a problem of the car, the logistics.
Oh yeah.
And actually, we like the new solution better.
Yeah.
And it's so sometimes it's a double solution.
Mhm.
It's a solution for the logistics, and then we see like and it's also a better design. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Otherwise, we can just fit one. We cannot take. We have 2 big trucks needed.
Yeah, it was getting too big.
Yeah. And now it's even big, but it's even bigger, but
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, and more practical parts of what we're up to is after COVID's trying to get more of our existing stuff out of the door more often,
Yes.
which is like how to survive.
Yeah.
All to feel.
So yeah, that's another story.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
having brought up the game behind you that I can see, I think it's the one on the growing screen. I think is the one that you just mentioned. I can't remember the name of it. But it does feel like this is a nice time for us to go and have a little explore around this magnificent cave of wonders that you've brought us into. So, I mean, what would you like to show us first?
We can show a bit of Taken.
Yeah. Super. Well, while you go and get that, I am going to introduce the audience into how to get ready for our next segment, which will be the audience interaction element. So if you have been on to see this show before, you know that at the end of every show, we like to invite our guests to come up with a new game or a new controller. What is this new game or new controller made from? It's objects defined by you, the audience. So, I'm going to switch on the bot now with a tap of my finger. And you can see it now says down in the bottom left of the screen, type exclamation mark followed by an object to add it to the pool. That means that if you start typing, you put an exclamation mark in, whatever follows that exclamation mark will get added to a pool of objects that Thomas and Hannes are going to use to come up with a new device. So if you type in exclamation mark potato, for example, a potato will be added to the pot. As you can see, Tatiana's just added some socks. So feel free to type in exclamation mark followed by some strange, weird objects, whatever you'd like to see. We've got a gnome added into the pool. And at the end of the show, we will randomly pick 5 of them. And Thomas and Hannes, it'll be your job to come up with what is the game or controller you'd make out of them. So yes, keep those suggestions coming in. I think Ash is just moments ahead of me. I was about to type in pentagons. So, what are you up to right now?
Making some browns, but the brightness is maybe.
No, it's not bad.
Maybe if you bring the camera closer,
All right.
to adjust to it. I see.
Yes.
There, that's better. Perfect.
Yeah.
And then
So
you can see
this is
on the model,
Tekken?
Tekken, yes. And then, yeah, you can put some around.
And so we're seeing you move the tail around. Is that you moving the joystick to move its tail around?
It's just an animation to give it more life.
I see.
So you can see me drawing here.
Oh, right. And that's your hand and the pencil being mapped directly onto it.
So now you have these lines, and then yeah, that's how you draw the stuff.
Yeah.
Sequence, but it's a work in progress version.
Yeah, I love that
There's
it's
no
being
playing sequence at the moment.
right, but I love that it's being mapped on directly, so that while you are drawing, you can see your hands and your fingers on it. Is a nice little touch.
Yeah.
It makes it feel more kind of.
Yeah, it's also it's just a no choice.
I'm afraid we can't hear you very clearly. You might need to project a bit more. Oh, you're better now.
There's the camera, so you need to you always have your hands, except if you mask it out, but it's more convenient to see your hands to orientate in the right position. So, yeah, and the next version we will have interaction with this ball, but
I see.
so no more joystick, but I can try to do it.
Yeah, and will they be picked up by the same camera, or do you have like a second camera that's looking for the balls?
Same camera.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can show it now. Probably not.
That's all right, but I'm imagining it feeling kind of like waving around a magic wand or something. You know, I can picture myself kind of coaxing the creature around. And you've got more screens back here.
Yes.
Oh, and this is the game with the blocks.
So this the one with the blocks, and then when you place the block, you can jump on it, but it's not really visible. So, but that's how it works. So you can cooperate and build your level like that. Fill my hands. Yeah, but we can show the next version. There's the block appearing.
Right. So there's so I can see the lights coming up from below the tabletop.
So the one you place in the grid appears in the game as well. So then you can make like a little staircase or jump over fire, make a little bridge. But we're putting more gameplay elements in the next. It's gonna have less blocks and bigger blocks. So these are really tiny, like green dice. But we can maybe show now the next version, work in progress part.
Yeah. Just a quick question. How does it know when there's a block in a hole?
Yeah, I had the same question. How do you do the captation on this? Like, how is it recognized?
Inside the arcade.
Oh, there is a webcam inside the arcade. Yeah.
Yes.
That's very clever. So I guess when it sees a bit of green, when it sees a green pixel, it knows there's a block there.
Yes.
That's so clever.
So we're gonna go back to our spots to make a more stable showing. The back. So, because you asked the progress of how we do stuff.
Yeah.
For the next one, this is cardboard.
Oh, right.
So just to get the feel of the controls and the layout.
Yeah.
We get this. We made this cardboard cutout. It's not even complete, but here's some lead ring taped in the back.
Right.
just to get the real physical parts and to get the layout.
Yeah.
The hole for the joystick, hole for the button, and then there's we laser cutted this grids
Right.
as a mold to start drilling.
Yeah.
So
And is
there's
that
a lot of-
all equipment, the laser cutting and all that stuff? Are those tools that are here in this space as well? Or do you have like another separate, is this a clean space and there's a messy space somewhere else?
So this is like the storage / game dev / place where people can come visit.
Right.
There's another woodworking.
I think
It's also
Just a
right.
sec, the train, the train is covering.
Yeah.
Sorry.
a few meters to there
Yeah,
in
There
down the
are-
streets.
dust and
But
cutting machines and
yeah, we have more traditional woodworking equipment there. Yeah, traditional. I don't know. But we don't do a lot of laser cutting because we don't like the burnt look.
Right.
But we have this Fab Lab, this makerspace in Antwerp, where we go laser cutting. So,
I see.
so we don't have our own yet.
Right.
we don't.
so I have to drill holes by myself.
Right.
The final oak
Then,
piece that will be on top of the cabinet, but it's still the rough. So we're really in a work in progress.
What
So-
kinds of wood are you using?
This is oak.
This is
mostly
oak.
European oak and mostly oak for the hardwood and plywood for the cabinets.
The painted part.
Painted parts.
Because it would be a bit spilling to use your
Yeah.
oak for the painted parts.
Right.
So we finish it off with the place where you put your hands or where you sit, or we like to do like solid oak finish, really old school way, I guess. Like really furniture designed. But then for the bigger surfaces, we paint them most of the time, like the coloring.
Yeah.
Like you see all the colors in the back.
Yes. So what are these pieces in the back there?
I want to show one piece at first because it's important for us, and that's if we can catch it. The multi-colored one is the Vilela. So that's the first arcade we built.
So could you repeat that? The multicolored, sort of stripy one.
The stripy one, it's different types of woods, and that's the first arcade we built.
I'm really sorry. We didn't quite.
You
we
are-
might
yeah.
need one of you to come kind of to the front of the camera. The microphone didn't quite pick that up.
Yeah, sorry, we cannot hear you if you don't speak directly to the mic, I think.
There we go.
That's the Winitron.
Okay.
That's the first cabinet we made.
Right.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it's also one of the more difficult because of the different, it's not colors, but it's different types of wood glued together.
Wow.
What are these woods? Like, what type of woods are you using for the stripes?
Just what I had laying around, I think. Scraps from
Our brother was working making stairs.
yeah.
So we have
Yeah.
scraps of PC parts. And so our first work was scraps put together. So that's inspiration. We can go over more. I can do the voice. Yeah. So yeah, you have the Robin Baumgarten's Wobble Garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're borrowing one of his for the whale. And then Gregory Kogo's Roto Ring.
Yeah.
And that's the Doom buttons in the bottom with the 4 buttons, the dark one.
Oh, yes, yes.
So they light up when it's plugged in. And yeah, that's some more. Maybe a bit much. And then we have wrapped up, sorry, Pure Chaos. So wrapped in plastic, Bart Bonte arcades. But sometimes when it's raining and stuff, it's easier to move them wrapped in plastic.
Right.
But not the best for the environment. So we're looking into bags. It's like the shape. It's you can put 3. This is like a little package of 6 of the.
I'm afraid we didn't quite catch that, Thomas.
All right. It was a long explanation that they fit the car.
Oh, right.
Okay.
So I guess we can quickly show a non-running. That's the trippy tiles, but the tile plate is not here. It's somewhere in the closet. So, elemental. Yeah, the whale.
Oh, so you can see the whale while it's not constructed.
Parts of the whale are in the.
Oh yeah, the top. Yeah.
At the top.
So I guess each kind of rib is that kind of like most of a hexagon then, is it? And those are all kind of kept as complete pieces. They don't split up into smaller bits.
Actually, they do. So you see half of them, and some of them. You see half of them, and some of them split in half to move it more easy.
Right. Okay.
They can split up.
Okay. That's good, because I can imagine those must be quite hard to move from place to place.
Not always necessary to totally disassemble them. So yeah, that's our part of our collection.
It's an amazing.
Yeah.
It's an amazing collection, and I think it is nice. Like, I mean, I've certainly got, my own equipment all around the place, but like none of it on show. Apart from like I've got 1 paper shredder, 2 paper shredders behind my head, and those are like that's the closest I've got. But this is like your workshop kind of acts as an exhibition space. I mean, is that intentional, or this is just a function of all your projects are still kind of live? They could be hired at any time. Is it like, is there a mentality behind this?
We thought about having this being sometimes an arcade to visit.
Yeah.
But there's too much stuff.
Right.
Actually, yeah, we did some events here, but it's always a lot of work. Even now, we moved a lot of stuff to have it visible semi-decently. So it's always moving, so we cannot really have opening hours or arcade kind of schedule. But
Yeah.
it can be a goal in the future, I guess, to have maybe some more social projects for neighborhoods, kids or something, and also is a place to gather. Actually, somebody did this in Antwerp with more retro consoles, which was really a nice project. It was for getting some kids off the street and bonding. But we just know them. They're inspired me to maybe someday do it, but now it's not practical for us. So.
I see.
But it's fun if somebody wants to work with us, they can just see a lot of our stuff. Or when it's all gone for a festival, then we have some space here to change our workshop. Or
we are more happy when we have like the wall on the back is empty.
Yeah.
We want to have it empty. Then everything is
booked.
So that's better for us. But yeah, that's nice to see.
Yeah. Well, this has been an absolutely fascinating tour. I've really enjoyed this. This has been like amazing to see it all in the flesh, and you really get to appreciate, like, you know, the scale of it and kind of, you know, and how it all fits together. It's this has been fascinating. Thank you very much.
Okay.
But
Maybe we go back to our seated.
that
position.
sounds like a good idea. I think you need to get to your seated space so you can get into the zone, you know, into the vibe, and ready to come up with some amazing new video games for us. So this is an exclusive Devillé Arcade's brand new project. What is it going to be? So we have had several suggestions come in from the chat for objects that have all been added to the pool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press a button, and if you can't see the Twitch stream right now, I will read them out nice and loud for you so you can see what they all are. But I am going to read you out the 5 objects that you need to make a game from. Are you ready? Yep.
Good as ever.
All right, then, drum roll. And your objects are a gnome, Lego bricks, Polaroid camera, a cheese wheel, and a sphere. So that was a gnome, Lego bricks, a Polaroid camera, a cheese wheel, and a sphere.
We have to use them all. Yeah.
Yeah, well, try to. You get extra marks if you use them all.
Okay, let's start thinking. We used a lot of them already in some concepts, maybe. Known game, right? With all these binary combinations. It was in one of our Christmas games. We used
Oh!
gnomes, yeah, but
Die
kleine en grote. And
yeah. You
yeah, it was like, yeah,
it's too long.
it's too long ago.
But it's good that you've already got prior experience in the gnome genre.
Yeah.
Use the cheese wheel kind of mechanic for the band's installation.
Yeah.
So Thomas helped Pepin Wilkins for alt control,
Blowing
wind golf installation.
Right.
Also was
How,
like
sorry, how did a cheese wheel come into making wind golf?
I don't think we.
No.
It was for.
Cheese wheel is like a plate, rotating plate, right? Or is it something else?
Oh no, well, okay, but I like that. Feel free to interpret a cheese wheel as that, because that's such a fun idea. No, I mean, correct me. So it was Zoraida who typed in cheese wheel. I think it's just like a big circle of cheese, you know, like a Edam.
Just it's a Dutch thing.
Yeah.
Cheese. That's probably a cheese wheel, yeah.
But feel free to use, you know, whichever interpretation you prefer. Your artists.
For us, a cheese wheel is like a plate that moves around, like a DJ wheel.
Okay.
Cheese table, yeah.
But let's think about this game, right? So
With gnomes on a spinning table with a spear. I think we can spin them, and they have to. When you stop, they have to throw the spear, but you have your dizzy as well.
Yeah, dizzy spear throwing simulator. Very fun with a big crowd.
So I think you play the game on the big wheel. You sit on it. You are the gnome, and you have like a spear, and they turn you around.
So it was sphere, as in your favorite shape, the one that you really want to build.
Oh, yeah,
sphere.
the
I don't know if that makes it easier or harder.
A sphere. Not a spear. Okay.
I like the spear.
But
Do you want to go for spear then? Go for spear if you like spear.
Gnome,
Gnome.
and then you have to like being dizzy. You have to like play some with the sphere. What's the other Polaroids?
So so we're missing the Lego bricks and the Polaroid camera.
Yeah.
So you need to like make some nice. You rotate around.
Yeah, you give your hell,
and then you have to like get in a diorama and take like mimic a picture or something, and then you can like in a Lego diorama, a real life, and then it's digitally it compares while being dizzy how good of a mimic you made of this shot of the diorama, maybe something like that.
I like the Lego game, Lego Journeys.
Lego Journeys, I don't think I know it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fascinated.
And it's pretty game. Yeah, but pictures when you're dizzy, I like it.
Yes, and maybe you can put in some nuts of your own concepts. Actually, we wanted to make a physical nuts thing, but that didn't get off the ground. But we can incorporate some camera angle, looping, cheese, Lego thing. You see, we're really
you're fleshing it out.
Yeah. Game jams, I never got into it actually. That's the point I'm making. No.
That's mostly Hannes comes up with an idea. I say it's a stupid idea. I tell this idea is much better, and he tells no, it's a stupid idea. So
that's how we work.
Yeah. How do you resolve that dispute? Do you just have to go and make it, and either you'll be proven right or proven wrong, or do you like fight with like, do you ride horses or like sword fight or something?
Sometimes you get like a new solution of the two complaints. So you just trying to prove your idea is good, but you also think like, it's probably right that it's bad. And you get a new solution. Sphere, sphere, Polaroid camera.
Or I like the idea that you are dizzy and try to walk or try to play a game or
but there's not even cheese wheels or made up
or throw a spear and a Polaroid. It's nice. It's like you can
it's really physical, right? Polaroid. So it's not a digital camera, so
the colors
can be nice. Some kind of one-time only game where you take this Polaroid picture and it's like forever kind of feeling.
You have just one roll, so you can only take 15 pictures.
Beautiful cheese which you wanna like take a picture of.
You get help, and you can only take 15 pictures, and the one have to be perfect. One, and you get points.
And this gnome is like annoying you all the time. It's like
bastard. He steals the cheese.
Like
nuts.
Like a visual novel with the gnome trying to date you, and you will get distracted.
If you want to just take pictures of the cheese, it's
terrible game.
Terrible
game simulator.
Yeah.
This is amazing. I feel like we've gone on a multi-genre journey here, where we started with some kind of party game where you're spinning around on a wheel getting dizzy, and then we've kind of moved into a visual novel now, if I heard you correctly, which is
like cheese archaeologist trying to like get these great pictures with this Polaroid, while this gnome is like trying to distract you while trying to date you. And then we don't do spheres. Sorry.
No.
No, okay, so spheres are banned. You acknowledge the non-existence of spheres.
You can like blow up
Someday.
the cheese to become a sphere or something, but
Okay, I
Or like
feel
illusion.
I feel like you've gravitated around a kind of a coherent idea. So maybe what you could do is maybe come up with a name for it, and then pretend like I'm a museum. I am looking for an interactive game experience for the Gnomes exhibition, an exhibition all about gnomes, which is coming up at the name a museum.
Mozart in Brussels.
It's I'm from the Musée des Beaux-Arts in Brussels. We've got an exhibition all about gnomes. We want an interactive game from you for our exhibition. What's it called and what's the game?
Cheese it. You got to cheese it. So you have like virtual reality.
Mm-hmm.
But what if you walk in and the only sensation you have is the smell of cheese? Then you get these Polaroids, and by using your nose, you have to find where is the cheese. You get to cheese it.
Ah.
And then if you can bring back, if you choose the right box where the smell is coming from,
Yeah.
take the picture, you can bring back the Polaroid, you can date gnome in our visual novel.
Oh wow! I've always wanted to date a gnome. That's why I'm putting on this exhibition in the first place. Just one more thing, I know because you're artists. I don't want to, I don't want to ruin your vision. But we do have sponsorship from Lego. So is there a way you could work in our Lego sponsorship?
Of course, we have this nice spherical Lego replicas you can sell at the gift shop.
That's amazing. I love it. A sphere is my favorite shape. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You have saved this
Solid.
exhibition.
Solid. All right, that was difficult.
we like to challenge our guests. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for playing that game with us. I really enjoyed doing that. It was really fun to hear you bounce the ideas around.
Cool. Thanks for hosting. It's really cool to see all these weeks.
Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. Now, I am afraid though that this does bring us to the end of this week's show. But yes, I mean, before we move on, is there anything that you would like to maybe say to the audience where they can find out more about you, or anything you'd like to tell them about before we head off?
Yeah, you can probably find us if you watch this show, so don't have to say that. I guess, yeah, we're just winded up doing what we did for fun as kids, and we wound up doing. So yeah, if you see the opportunity to jump, you can always try. I guess that's too American, probably. If you have the possibilities. No, it's fun to do this. Also for the people, like the creative community, and also like just showing your game and like not being sure that it will be fun, and then seeing kids jump and crawl and run over it, and seeing people finish a game you thought night before you made too hard, and then they still went through and then finished it. Just super fun to finally show it on the floor and see the reactions, and that's just good times. Thomas, anything to add?
No, yeah. See you all in Bruges.
Bruges. So yes, so that is the exhibition coming up in Bruges, is the player input exhibition. So that'll be in Bruges. When will that be?
Playtime is the name of the
Sorry,
exhibition.
Playtime is the
Our
exhibition.
stuff is called player input.
I see. Fantastic. And do you know when that will be?
In September.
Right.
I think 17 September.
Okay.
Zoraida said it in the chat like 15 minutes ago or so.
Thank you, Zoraida.
Collaborating with us for the player inputs. We're gonna add some more games to the lineup with the curation of Zoraida.
Yeah, Zoraida said 16 and to 18 of September.
Yes.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, if you are near Bruges, please do make your way there. And if you're far away from Bruges, make an effort to make your way there. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. That brings us to the end of the show. But viewers watching on Twitch, do feel free to stick around on the IndieCade channel, as later tonight we will have, as always, Korean Drive Time. And of course, keep on watching the IndieCade channel. Every Wednesday evening, there is the Beyond Screen show. So it's not just myself and Tatiana doing alternative controllers. We also have shows about escape rooms, shows about playable theatre, and shows about much, much more. So please do keep an eye on the IndieCade channel. Click that follow button and make sure you get all the going live notifications and all of that. And yes, we will be back again next month at the end of the month with another fantastic alternative controller guest. Tatiana, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure hosting the show with you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, pleasure. The pleasure is mutual. Thanks a lot again, Thomas and Hannes, for joining us. It's been fantastic to have you here. And yeah, I mean, it's the end. So goodbye, everyone. See you all again soon.
See you later.
Bye.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.